New hope for immigrants in the United States. Will immigration reform become a reality? Over the past few days, renewed hope has emerged among the immigrant community in the United States, as a possible immigration reform promoted by the Republican Party has been discussed. This proposal, known as the Dignity Act, could benefit millions of undocumented immigrants who have resided in the country for several years, have paid taxes, and have contributed to the economy in fundamental sectors such as agriculture, construction, and the hospitality industry. However, this initiative is not without its conditions and challenges. To qualify, immigrants must meet strict requirements and also pay a significant amount of money to regularize their immigration status. In this special report, we will analyze in detail what this proposal consists of, what are the required requirements, what benefits and challenges it could present, and how it could transform the lives of millions of people who have lived in the United States for years without legal immigration status. The context of immigration reform in the United States. Immigration policy in the United States has been a topic of constant debate for decades. Over the years, different administrations have attempted to address the situation of undocumented immigrants, but efforts have been inconsistent and, in many cases, ineffective. One of the most important milestones in the history of immigration reform was the Immigration Reform and Control Act of 1986, signed by then-President Ronald Reagan. This law allowed for the legalization of more than 3 million undocumented immigrants. However, since then, proposals to establish a path to legalization have encountered numerous political obstacles, which has prevented the implementation of meaningful immigration reform. In recent years, the crisis at the southern border, the arrival of millions of new migrants, and growing concerns about national security have further complicated the picture. President Joe Biden's administration has come under fire for its handling of immigration, and now, with new Republican leadership in Congress, there appears to be an attempt to address the situation with a strategy that combines strict border security measures with possible relief for those immigrants already established in the country. What is the new immigration reform proposal? According to sources close to the Republican Party, the new immigration reform proposal includes several key points. 1. Temporary legal status. Dignity. Undocumented immigrants who have resided in the United States for more than 5 years may qualify for temporary legal status. This status would allow them to work legally in the country and access certain basic benefits, although without an automatic path to citizenship. 2. Qualification requirements. To qualify for this benefit, applicants must meet specific criteria, including, have resided in the United States for at least 5 years. Have children who are U.S. citizens. Having paid taxes continuously. Not having committed serious crimes or representing a threat to the country's security. Continue contributing financially through work in essential sectors. 3. Regularization process and costs. The regularization process would include the payment of a fee, which could range from $5,000 to $10,000. This amount would serve to cover the administrative costs of the process and ensure that the beneficiaries are committed to their legal permanence in the country. The dignity status would last approximately 10 years. After this period, immigrants could opt for citizenship through an additional program called Path to Redemption, which would entail new requirements and contributions. Economic impact of immigration reform. The implementation of this reform could have a positive impact on several essential sectors of the American economy. Industries such as agriculture, construction, and hospitality, which rely heavily on immigrant labor, could benefit significantly from having workers with legal status that allows them to perform their duties without fear of deportation. States such as Florida, Texas, and California, where there is a high demand for immigrant workers, could see an improvement in their economy and an increase in labor productivity. In addition, by regularizing millions of workers, the tax base would be expanded, which could translate into greater revenue for the federal government. What does this reform mean for undocumented immigrants? For millions of people who have lived in the shadows for years, this proposal represents an unprecedented opportunity. Unlike other reform attempts that have failed in the past, this initiative has some support within the Republican Party, which increases its chances of passage in Congress. Many immigrants have expressed their willingness to pay the costs associated with legalization if it means being able to live without fear, travel to their home countries, and access better job opportunities. However, there are also concerns about the accessibility of the process and the costs involved, especially for those with low wages. Some immigrants fear that the high cost of regularization could exclude many people who have worked hard in the United States and contributed to the country's economy. Others wonder whether the process will be too bureaucratic and complicated, which could delay the possibility of obtaining legal status. Challenges and obstacles to immigration reform. Although this proposal represents a ray of hope, it also faces numerous challenges. 1. Political opposition within the Republican Party. Some argue that granting legal status to undocumented immigrants could encourage more illegal immigration in the future. On the other hand, some Democrats believe that the proposal is not inclusive enough and that it should offer a faster and more direct path to citizenship. 2. Implementation and regulations. Creating a new system to process applications and conduct background checks could present a significant bureaucratic challenge. Limits on the number of beneficiaries may be placed, potentially leaving many people out of the program. 3. Economic impact for applicants. Despite the benefits that legalization would bring, the initial financial cost could be a barrier for many immigrant families. Support programs would be needed to help applicants raise the money needed to regularize their status. Real stories. The impact of reform on the lives of immigrants. To better understand the importance of this proposal, let's listen to some real stories. Maria, a farm worker in California, she has been in the United States for 15 years and has 2 citizen children. For her, this reform represents an opportunity to obtain stability and security. Jose, a construction worker in Florida, he fears that the cost of regularization will be too high, but he is willing to pay it if it means being able to visit his sick mother in Mexico without fear of not being able to return. Anna, a hotel employee in New York, as a single mother, she dreams of a better future for her son. This reform would give him the opportunity to get a better paid job and ensure the well-being of his family. Will the reform be approved? Despite the difficulties, this proposal represents one of the best opportunities in years to achieve meaningful immigration reform. If it gains the necessary support in Congress, it could change the lives of millions of immigrants. It is essential that the immigrant community stay informed and actively participate in the public debate. Sharing information, contacting political representatives, and joining organizations that defend immigrant rights are key steps to making this reform a reality. The question remains, would you be willing to pay between $5,000 and $10,000 to obtain legal status in the United States? For many, the answer is a resounding yes. We will continue to stay tuned for any news on this possible immigration reform.